So this happened.
Lord, we thank you.
You're sacrificing the mothers for the children.
Your backwards views have got to go.
On the steps of the nation's highest court,
Roe v. Wade has got to go.
the nation's most divisive issue laid bare. After the bombshell leak of a draft opinion showing that 5 conservative Supreme Court justices appear poised to strike down Roe v. Wade, the nearly 50-year-old landmark decision that protected a woman's right to access abortion. If Roe is overturned, 26 states are certain or likely to ban or severely restrict access to abortion.
And here we go.
So all those people who asked me on my Razor Fist arcade streams, hey, with the Democrats staring down the barrel of a midterm massacre of Lena Dunham appetizer proportions, what manner of ninth inning Hail Mary bullshit do you think the left will pull to mobilize their demoralized base? I believe I feel perfectly comfortable saying, you have your answer. More to the point, this, I believe, was a transparent attempt by an ideologue on the court, likely an aide, to influence a court decision they personally disagreed with. The draft itself was from fucking February, meaning someone hoped to sit on this announcement as long as humanly possible until their hand was forced by the fact that the court was planning to release a judgment in the next motherfucking month. Something said slacktivists doubtless intended to forestall by inspiring scores of femfucks to waddle through the streets in defense of their imaginary constitutional right to kill a kid. And no, that editorializing of the phrase is not mine. It's the president's.
I mean, so the idea that we're going to make a judgment that is going to say that no one can make the judgment to choose to abort a child.
Come again?
Biden. I haven't seen this steady a hand since that time I played Operation with Michael J. Fox. And the firestorm of spurgery touched down almost immediately, as suspiciously well-organized and funded protests, marches, sit-ins, and shit-ins kicked off in every deep blue capital city in the country the moment this leak was announced. The women's movement has been riding high of late, at least if you count the one left in Johnny Depp's bed. But it's especially incensed now that John Roberts has stopped cowering under his desk long enough to actually fucking confirm it, even as he assures us all the decision is far from final. No fucking shit, beef. That's the entire point of leaking, to scare your feckless rhino ass into reversing course. And from the sound of your statement, it sounds like you're splayed wide in anticipation, confirming also in the process that the Supreme Court, we were all assured, never suffers a fucking leak when it was reported they refused to hear Trump's election cases in 2020 because they were afeared of fucking riots, does in fact have more leaks than Biden at the Vatican. Odd there were never any leaks when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was moldering on film for over a year of wasting illness with a sub 10% survival rate, while the media assured us all she was spry as a forest creature and being spotted everywhere from the movies to fucking Coachella. And before anyone chimes in with the ever-ready no vagina, no opinion rejoinder, first off, how dare you assume my gender? And second, allow me to counter with a simple no cock, no kid. Do go ahead and ring me up when a broad has a baby without a dick or a turkey baster being involved, though. I'll wait. That truism, by the way, is how I got blocked on Twitter by Kevin fucking Nash some years back. No need to blow things out of proportion, Kev. It's a tweet, not a quad. In the interest of full disclosure, abortion is one of the primary issues that led to me expelling myself from libertarian circles as a younger man, and laid the first tracks on the path to becoming the embittered Goldwater conservative you see today, and would further add that the Libertarian Party has flat fucking zero moral claim to the term liberty, so long as they refuse to enshrine the efficacy of protecting or avenging the murdered. Fortunately for both of us, I don't even have to get into my moral opinion on abortion to know Roe v. Wade should have been overturned 15 fucking seconds after it was handed down. Future Chief Justice William Rehnquist put a bow on the multifarious issues with the ruling in his formal dissent of the decision, healthfully and articulately enjoining that the activist Thurgood Marshall-era court had effectively invented a meaning into the 14th Amendment to which the 1868 drafters had been apparently oblivious. And I quote, To reach its result, the court necessarily has had to find within the scope of the 14th Amendment a right that was apparently completely unknown to the drafters of the amendment. As early as 1821, the first state law dealing directly with abortion was enacted by the Connecticut legislature. By the time of the adoption of the 14th Amendment in 1868, there were at least 36 laws enacted by state or territorial legislatures limiting abortion. While many states have amended or updated their laws, 21 of the laws on the books in 1868 remain in effect today, unquote. In short, if the 14th Amendment intended to strip states of the right to determine whether abortion is legally permissible in their own jurisdictions, why the merry fuck didn't its passage in 1868 immediately nullify the 30-odd anti-abortion laws that prevailed during the year of its inception? The court passed a law. Fucking admit it. Most of the media is.
John Roberts has confirmed the authenticity of a leaked draft opinion showing the Supreme Court could be preparing to overturn Roe v. Wade. The landmark 1973 decision legalized abortion nationwide.
Look, some members of the court at the time even all but acknowledged that fact, making the fact that it's a flagrant violation of the separation of powers an impeachable offense all the more egregious. Almost as egregious as the cowards in Congress refusing to do a single fucking thing about it. See my stench from the bench rant for a few more servings of that coprolite casserole. But honestly, we can shelve the social and political issues here entirely if that weren't the totality of the reason this case existed to begin with. Why would we do so? Because the case was, at the end of the day, a question of privacy around an alleged rape. Problem being, that rape was about as real as our president's hairline.
Jane Roe's story was a terrible one. She said she had been gang raped, gotten pregnant, was desperate to get an abortion. That's what everyone believed, as long as Jane Roe remained anonymous. When she went public, she told a different story.
You were raped while you were in Georgia?
No, I wasn't.
You were not?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, so all those stories that are in the books and so forth are not true?
Yes, sir. Yes.
They're not true.
Right.
And it turned out that lying wasn't the only embarrassment this darling of the pro-choice forces presented. In her personal treatise published last year, Norma McCorvey told the story of her somewhat sordid life. Then she still adamantly supported abortion. Now she adds that to the list of sins she took with her into the baptismal pool.
I've cheated people out of money. I've sold drugs. I was an abusive alcoholic for many years. I've done a lot against his teachings. But I think the far greater sin that I did was to be the plaintiff in Roe versus Wade.
Shelve the politics for a beat. Pretend this is just a regular court case. Any court case whatsoever pertaining to a rape or sexual assault. The plaintiff wins with an awful lot of help from abortion activists bankrolling her legal fees, might I add, only to emerge 11 days after the verdict and admit she done made that shit up. In any other rape case in the motherfucking Milky Way, what happens the moment she utters that admission? Anyone? Anyone at all? If you answered thrown out faster than Chris Chan at a family reunion, you're underselling, but I'll allow it. Gang, take the politics out of it. Roe v. Wade was an absolutely odious decision, not according to me, according to Ruth Bader butt-fucking Ginsburg, who excoriated the judgment years before joining the court back in her ACLU lead counsel days as sloppy, setting back the cause of reproductive rights and giving ammunition to the anti-abortion lobby. And folks, she's fucking right. If you agree with abortion, you should want Roe v. Wade overturned. Beyond the federal overreach of an issue that's already settled on a state level all around the country, it's Roe v. Wade itself that has allowed this issue, once considered relatively minor in the pantheon of marriage, justice, and procreation, to full-on fester into the firestorm of self-perpetuating piss and winery we've witnessed since the 70s. Gang, ask your parents, your grandparents, anyone alive back when we still had a civilization. Believe it or not, there was once a time, not so many decades ago, when abortion was about as cutting-edge and controversial as Yang Ya's commentary. And you absolutely have Roe v. Wade and good old Thurgood Marshall, who all but bragged about being an activist on the bench, to thank for fanning the flames and cultivating the goat fuck to follow. And for the 15 fucking septillionth time, repealing an illegally enacted law is not creating an abortion ban. No one is trying to take your abortions away at a federal level. You allowed an illegal decision to pass for law at the federal fucking level. Don't bitch now that someone may actually correct the fucking mistake. All this does is send the issue back to the states, where it frankly should have been rightfully to begin with. The good news for abortion advocates is, of course, if you're in a blue state, abortion's back on the menu, and probably in a more unfettered fashion compared to the version that was federally imposed previously. If you're in a state like the one in which I reside, Arizona, well, sorry, you may actually have to do silly little things like put laws up for a fucking vote first. And if they fail to pass on a state level, here's a thought. Maybe your cherished positions are incrementally more marginal than you thought. The real world is not your fucking gender studies class. Out here in the ether, you're actually responsible for arguing your positions and persuading people rather than imposing your will by unelected fucking fiat. Life hurts, Tinkerbell. Wear a cup. And I don't want to hear you bitching about the ballot box after spending 2 years shrieking tremulously about insurrection and preserving democracy any more than I plan to endure my body, my choice platitudes from the party who's firing federal employees over a fucking vaccine. And hey, if it helps at all, try and think of it this way. We're not killing Roe v. Wade. We're aborting it in the 196th trimester. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
Hey, little young to be having an abortion, aren't we? It's okay, we have a booster seat. All right, just sit back and relax. We'll get that fuck trash taken right out of you. Here we go.